Hi everyone, I'm Shelly from There's No Place Like Home at redheadmom8.wordpress.com. Today I'm participating in a Homeschool Mom Confessions collab with Mommy and Mia Homeschool Chronicles. And I'm going to be answering 12 questions about our homeschool. And before I even begin, if you are a homeschool mom and you would like to participate, I will put all the information in the description box below for you to upload your own video to the playlist. So here we go. The first question is, how many children do you homeschool and what are their ages? Well, I have 11 children, but this coming school year, I will only be homeschooling 9. Last year I was homeschooling 10, but our second oldest just graduated. She's our first homeschool graduate. Our oldest graduated from public school in 2011. So this year I will be homeschooling 9 kids, and their ages are 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 11, 12, 15, and 17. I hope I got them all. Okay, so the next question. What is your homeschooling schedule? Regular school schedule, year-round, part-time, full-time, etc. We are what you would consider to be year-round homeschoolers. There are a lot of different ways that people actually implement year-round homeschooling in, and what we use is what I've heard before referred to as, I think, a Sabbath schedule, because what we do is we homeschool for 6 weeks and then we take a 1-week break, and then we homeschool 6 weeks and we take a 1-week break. And our homeschool year usually begins around the second week of July and ends usually around the end of May, possibly beginning of June, depending on how many breaks we took throughout the year. We also do take a 6-week break over Thanksgiving and Christmas, and also right now for the summer we do get a 6-week break as well. So the next one is, do you take a summer break? Well, I just answered that question. Or do you have a homeschool summer schedule? We actually have both. Since we only take a 6-week summer break, we do start homeschooling again in July, but we do not do a summer schedule. We pretty much start out how we're going to be homeschooling throughout the year, and that's because we're very relaxed homeschoolers. We're not very rigid, very structured, so we have a lot of fun in what we're doing, and so we really don't need to kind of transition our way in like some people might have to. The next one, when coming off of summer break, do you find it difficult to get back into your regular homeschool schedule, or do you have a method that helps you ease right into your regular homeschool routine? I think with us, since I have so many kids, it's kind of a relief for all of us when we start homeschooling again. If you would ask my kids that now, since we just started our break, they would deny that. But I think that as we start getting towards the end of our 6-week break, it does start to get a little crazy around here. So for us, the structure of our school day is actually a godsend. We really do need it. So we don't have an issue transitioning back into school. When homeschooling multiple children, what advice can you offer other homeschoolers in regards to teaching and planning for different age levels, including caring for a child who is not at the age to be homeschooled? Okay, well, I actually touched on that. I have my own playlist on homeschooling multiple ages that I'll link down below. But for the time being, what I would say, first of all, is if you have a mega family like I do, I would say more than say 5 or 6 kids, I would group your kids. And first of all, definitely teach your kids together. But if you have a bunch of kids, I would at least group them maybe into 2 separate groups just to make things a little less stressful for you. That's what I do. I group my kids into littles, middles, and teens. And it's so much better. I used to try to teach at least the littles and middles together, and it just got too hectic because since we do unit studies a lot of times, if some kids needed help with something, it was kind of like I felt like I was being pulled in every direction trying to help someone. So definitely group your kids, but at the same time, let them learn together as best as you can. If you only have 4 kids, then yeah, definitely they can easily all learn together. Another tip that I would have is to use read-alouds and notebooking in your homeschool. That's another great way for kids to be able to learn together besides unit studies. And again, that's listed in my playlist that I have below. As for if you have kids who are not yet old enough to be in school, I have a blog post where I wrote about that I'll link down below. But what we do is we have what are called busy bins that that are only for school time. And so we pull them out on separate days. We have one for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. We pull that out. And since they have something different in their bin every day, it doesn't get boring. Now, this year, we will not have any kids who aren't school age. Since my 4-year-old, I consider her pre-kindergarten. I'm not going to be doing a whole lot with her, but she likes to be a part of things. So we will be adding her in a little bit more than we usually did. Another thing for occupying your little ones is to make sure that you really spend some time with them in the morning before you start homeschooling your other kids. You have to make them feel special too. They see you working with your other kids all day long and they start to wonder, hey, why isn't mom paying attention to me? So make sure that you get that time in there, and also include them as much as possible. You know, if they're old enough to grip a crayon, you can make them feel like they're doing schoolwork too. Let's see. Now my computer shut off. Gotta love technology. Okay. Let's see. Has your children ever attended public private school? If yes, what advice can you give other new homeschoolers in regards to helping a child transition from regular school to being homeschooled? Yes, I have had some of my kids have been in public school, not all of them. And as I said earlier, my oldest did graduate from public school. Some advice that I can give you is, in order to transition from school to homeschooling, you really want to give yourself and your kids a period of deschooling where you kind of let them do anything that they want. Don't go right into giving them schoolwork. Just let them enjoy themselves and pursue their interests, and just really, as the parent, watch what they're doing and see how they like to learn, see what they're interested in, and kind of ease your way back into learning together. And I also want to highly recommend that you don't try to imitate what school was. You know, you don't have to go right into doing textbooks for everything and a specific time schedule, because what's the point of taking your kids out of school if you're just going to completely recreate it at home? And also, I feel like I've written about everything, because I do have a blog post about that too that I will try to remember to share in the description box down below. And the next one. All children are unique learners and have their own learning style. So when it comes to homeschooling multiple children, do you use the same homeschool approach with each child? For my littles and middles, I do, but that is because we really do, as eclectic homeschoolers, we really do take parts of all different learning styles and implement them. We do a lot of hands-on learning. I do a lot of read-alouds. We do a lot of notebooking. And since we do a little bit of each thing, all of the kids seem to do really well with that. My older kids, my teens, they actually do, since they work by themselves, they do work more closely to their own learning style. For example, my 15-year-old is more of a Charlotte Mason learner, so all of her homeschooling is based around reading living books and notebooking, and then math, of course. And my 17-year-old son, he's very active. And so a lot of his learning is actually being out in the field. He wants to be a wildlife photographer. So a lot of times he's out in the field and he's actually at the creek taking pictures or looking for snakes or those sorts of things. So yes, I really do tailor their curriculum specifically to their own learning styles. But when they're younger, I find that if you kind of have a mixture of everything, it seems to work well, at least for our family. Let's see. When purchasing curriculum, do you make the decision based on age, grade level, or by your child's academic strengths and weaknesses? Well, interestingly enough, we do not use any curriculum that goes by grade level, even for math. We use Life of Fred math, and that is not based on grade levels. It's just kind of like apples, butterflies, cats, dogs, and so on. And it just goes up, right on up through high school, and there are no specific grade levels assigned to those. And as for everything else, we use either unit studies or living books. So no, we do not use anything for grade levels. And honestly, yeah, I guess it would be more towards their strengths, because we try to tailor what they're learning towards what they are really interested in, especially as they become teenagers and are having to figure out what it is that they're going to do with their lives. What coping mechanisms can you share that helps you stay focused when you are faced with an overwhelming day, such as your child not grasping a specific concept or material in a lesson or subject, or if you are unable to grasp the information yourself and find yourself hitting a brick wall and moving forward in the lesson? Yeah, that happens sometimes in homeschooling. Things are not always smooth, and there are times that your kids will get frustrated, and in turn, you will get frustrated. And yeah, the best coping mechanism that I have found is to just stop doing it, at least for the day. Take a step back, maybe even take a break for a while. For the longest time, my now 9-year-old son was having a horrible time with phonics, and he used to sit and cry every single time that we would do a phonics lesson. And so what I did was I completely stopped doing phonics. That was it. We just didn't do it probably for over a month. And during that time, he actually taught himself how to read. So definitely taking a step back and giving yourselves a break. Sometimes, things will just click and your kids can either do them on their own, or when you go back to it again, you've had that time maybe to mull it over a little bit and start fresh. Okay, and so the next one is, from your point of view, what is the hardest thing about homeschooling? For me, the hardest part about homeschooling is the interruptions. Unfortunately, we have some family who I love dearly, but I don't think that they fully understand how important it is that we have uninterrupted learning time. We try to let people know what times we're homeschooling because I tell them that I'm not going to answer the phone, and inevitably I still have people calling during that time, and even just the phone ringing is enough to just kind of make my kids completely stop paying attention. And then there will be other times where if I don't pick up the phone, they'll just keep calling back over and over and over again. And it's hard, when you're homeschooling a bunch of kids, it can be difficult to keep their attention. So when you have it, you really want to keep it. So that's been the hardest thing for me, is just to get, other people to understand that we really do need to set this time aside specifically for our homeschool. What is your own homeschooling philosophy? My own homeschooling philosophy is to keep your home in your school. Homeschool is the word, but a lot of people, I think, emphasize the school part and forget about the home, whereas I try to think about the home, and school is secondary. There's living and learning come together. And another philosophy that I have is that I want my kids to love learning. I love learning, and I really want to instill that in my kids. So my homeschool philosophy is to keep the home in your school, but to also really encourage children to want to learn. And what is your motivation? What keeps you going and stops you from giving up? Since my kids were in public school, I know what it's like. And I will be the first person who says, yes, I definitely think that homeschooling is a better choice than public school. And I know that a lot of people don't like when I say that. But what I found is that a lot of homeschoolers who don't like when I say that have never actually had kids who were in the school system. And I have had my kids in the school system. I have had, my kids have desks thrown at them by other students in their class, and I have had my kids come home to tell me that their school was on lockdown over an unruly second grader, or that a classmate was like hitting the teacher, and I could never send my kids to school and be able to sleep at night knowing the things that I do about not only what goes on there with their classmates, but just the public education system in general. From all the reading that I've done on the history of it, it was never intended to be about education, and it's evident in the things that go on there today. So that's what keeps me going, even if I positively hated homeschooling, which I don't. I really, really, really love it. But even if I did not enjoy it, I would continue to do it because I wouldn't be able to sleep at night to send my kids off to school every day. So that's my honest answer on that. So if you have any questions about anything that I've talked about today, just leave a comment. I will try to remember to link everything that I've written about or posted about before in the description box below. And again, if you are a homeschool mom and you would like to participate, just read the instructions in the comments, or not in the comments, in the box, and you can upload your own video. So I hope you have a great day.